Hello, everybody. This is Joseph P. Farrell with news and views from the Nefarium on Thursday, October 17th, 2019. I'm doing this uh, very early in the morning. I couldn't sleep last night. I've been thinking about a lot of stories, and I just decided to go ahead and do the news and views. Looks like I'm out of focus here a bit. Oh, there we go. Um, So I decided to get up and go ahead and do the news and views about what I've been thinking about. But before we get to that, there is no vid chat tomorrow. And there is a strong possibility that at least a few days next week, there will be no blogs on the website. But that doesn't mean I probably am going to have to travel for a couple days. That doesn't mean that I won't be watching the website. I'll have my laptop with me, and I will try and send out the thank you notices as much as I'm able to do for all of you sending in articles. So chances are next week there will be at least a few days where there will be no blogs. If I do have the time, unlikely, but if I do have the time, I'll use my laptop to go ahead and compose some blogs. So I appreciate everybody's patience. And I certainly appreciate everybody sending in articles and stories. And I have to tell you, this week has been very unusual because I got a lot of stories about different things that seem to me to be connected. So today's news and views is an unusual one in that I'm not concentrating on one article, although I'm going to use one article as kind of a springboard into what I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is something that maybe, I don't know, maybe some of you have noticed, but I can pose it in the form of a question. Are we watching some sort of weird covert war going on right under our noses? And the reason I ask that is my box has been stuffed this week with all sorts of bizarre stories, and I keep noticing these threads over and over again. So I want to start out with a story that got me thinking about this that was sent to me by somebody from RT. And the title of the article is Stealth Aggression: U.S. Attacked Iran with Cyber Weapons, including after Saudi oil refinery airstrike reports. And this was filed by RT just yesterday. And I want to read the three opening paragraphs here, because this is what got me started thinking about that question. Are we watching right under our noses some sort of covert war? And when I post this news and views on YouTube, I'm going to post it with about 4 articles, including a video, portions of which I want you to watch, and I'll be talking about that in a minute. But those 4 articles that I'm linking do not exhaust the story. Okay, I'm just giving you a kind of a very high overview of something I think may be going on. Maybe you guys agree with me. Maybe you don't. I don't know. In any case, here's the RT article, quote, and I'm reading the first 3 paragraphs here. Quote, the U.S. has conducted several cyber warfare operations against Iran in recent months, including one in retaliation for the September 14th attack on Saudi oil infrastructure, according to Reuters sources. The latest cyber strike was conducted by the Pentagon sometime in late September and affected physical hardware, true sources told the news agency. The target is related to what the sources described as Tehran's ability to spread propaganda. The operation was said to be smaller in scale than the previous ones that took place during several months of the U.S.-Iranian brinkmanship. Washington has a long record of using its cyber offensive capabilities against Iran. The most famous example was Operation Olympic Games, which involved infecting industrial controllers at an Iranian uranium enrichment plant with a virus designed to damage centrifuges in ostensibly natural malfunctions. The campaign was conducted under the administrations of Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama and was stopped after the virus called Stuxnet got out of control and spread across the internet, where it was identified by cybersecurity experts. So, in other words, we have a virus that was deliberately designed to cause machine malfunctions, all right, spreading across the internet. So, I'm wondering if weaponizing a virus and getting into other hands may be behind a lot of what we're looking at. So, my question is, are we looking at some sort of covert war going on right under our noses? Now, I want you to consider the following stories. And again, I haven't linked any articles to this. I'm referring to stories that have been in the news and that you're probably all familiar with. Do you recall, for example, a couple of years ago, the explosions at two Chinese chemical plants, one right outside of Beijing in Tianjin, which left an enormous crater that was very deep. And this is a key point. It was a very, very deep crater. It was not the kind of shallow crater and wide that you would expect from a chemical plant explosion. It was very deep. And there were some people on the internet at the time, I blogged about this myself, that were entertaining the idea or the suspicion that that kind of crater result may have been a rod of God technology attack, a kinetic weapon that was used. And later on, just in recent months, we had an American general asked during the latest brush up with North Korea, asked by a reporter, and I think deliberately by a reporter during a press conference, whether or not all American options being considered would have included kinetic weapons. And the general's response was yes. So file that one away. We've got Chinese chemical plant attacks. Just a couple days ago, we had an ammunition dump blow up in Baghdad, in Iraq. And again, this is not the first time that we've seen an ammunition dump blowing up. We've seen two just this year. In Russia, we've seen two munitions plants explode in Russia. All right. And again, I'm not buying the story that the chemical plants in China or the Russian ammunition dumps are due to just, bad handling or poor management or what have you. The Russians aren't stupid and the Chinese are not stupid. So we've had two Russian munitions plants explode. Now, on top of all of this, I'm linking articles in the post when I post it that I want you to watch carefully. Because as most of you know, there have been deliberate power blackouts in California, ostensibly for the purpose of preemptively combating the danger of wildfires, forest fires in California. Nonetheless, fires have started in Northern California, in the areas of the blackouts, and in Southern California. And I'm linking a video to this News and Views from SGT report. And about 2 to 3 minutes in, you will see a man that has put together a tape from weather satellites where it appears that there have been explosions of some sort followed precisely by fires in California. All right. So in other words, we've got fires starting in spite of the preemptive blackout. And on top of this, we have an oil refinery fire near the San Francisco Bay Area also occurring during this blackout period. So add oil refinery fire, infrastructure, and all of these things I'm suggesting, particularly the oil refinery, the ammunition dumps, these could indeed be the result of some sort of cyber attack through the internet on machinery, or that could be the use of other kinds of exotic technologies in tandem with it. So I'm suspecting a lot's going on here. This oil refinery fire has me really suspicious, has my suspicion meter in the red zone, because something clearly is going on if you have a fire at an oil refinery during a blackout. Okay. So something is going on, folks, in my opinion. Now let's roll the clock back. I started thinking about this idea way back in I think it was 2007, 2008, when we had the Haiti earthquake, if you remember that, and the disaster that followed there. And the problem there was, at the time, that I noticed, and only a few other people noticed, was there was no corresponding earthquake nor even reports of aftershock in the Dominican Republic, which of course is right next door and on the same island of Hispaniola that Haiti is on. That was followed by an earthquake around the Parral, Chile area, which, of course, for those of you who've been following the story, that was the area that Colonia Dignidad, the notorious post-war neo-Nazi child abuse compound, was. So you had two earthquakes in very suspicious areas. And I'm wondering if all of this is related somehow, if we are watching some sort of covert war, because it's very interesting to note that the things that are being attacked are infrastructure. And let's go a step further here, folks. Let's go all the way back to the Fukushima disaster in Japan and all of the speculation that was coming out at that time, that attack itself may have, that accident itself may have been an attack and may have been the result of the application of the Stuxnet virus. So there's lots going on here, and I can't help but thinking that we're watching infrastructure attack taking place through covert means: oil refineries, ammunition dumps, chemical plants. We saw also a recent story that I blogged about on the website recently about another explosion and fire in a Russian biomed research facility in Novosibirsk in Siberia. So something, I think, is going on. I think somebody is in a shooting for. In the chat room, someone says the Haiti quake was 2010. Thank you. So I think something's going on. I want to find out what you guys think, because I'm wondering if I'm just seeing things here, or if there's anybody else out there that has the same suspicions about all of these things, these weird incidents at these types of infrastructure sites. I think personally something is going on, but I'd be interested to hear everybody else's opinion on this, because it just strikes me as there's too many of these things, and they appear to be happening in clusters. And this little article on RT about the Stuxnet virus is making me think that somebody, or perhaps even several groups of people, have got their hands on this thing and are using it to drive some of these occurrences. So that's it for my news and views, guys. I really want to find out, and if you want to email me through the website, what your thoughts are about it, please do so. I really get the feeling that something is going on here, and it's not being covered adequately, with the exception of perhaps one or two places on the alternative community research media on the internet. Remember, there's no vid chat tomorrow, and in all likelihood, there will be a few days next week when I'm not having blogs. In fact, tomorrow I will be moving up my normal honorable mentions blogs to Friday rather than Saturday, because I might have to be leaving on Saturday. But anyway, folks, thank you. And let me know what you guys think. And wow. Apparently everybody in the chat room, I'm looking in the chat room right now. A lot of people have the same suspicions. Somebody is talking about directed energy weapons in California fires. I have suspected that myself, some sort of exotic technology, at least in the fires that occurred in the last 2 years. The ones now are very weird. And as I say, when I post this, there will be a link to an SGT report. Whether you agree with his analysis of the situation or not is up to you. But what I found fascinating in it was the weather satellite photos that a man had posted, where you can see explosions occurring or something that looks like explosions, and then fires starting. So something going on, perhaps, folks. Please let me know what you guys think. If you have other stories or things along these lines that you've noticed, please pass them on to me at the website email contact button, because this is getting very, very interesting to me. Anyway, that's it for today's news and views, everybody. Thank you for sharing all the articles that you do. And again, please keep sharing, even though I won't be blogging for a few days next week. I will have my laptop with me, and I will be able to look at them and follow things and get back into the swing of things after this, what looks like to be a likely period of some must travel situation. Anyway, that's it. Bye bye, and God bless everybody, and we'll see you on the flip side.